Okay. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about this week. So, with that said, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly Fruits Basket, the final discussion videos. Today we're going to talk all about episode 4, I'm Home. But before we get to the video proper, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of Anitude know that you're here. And for our like goal this week, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. Okay? We're going to say 150. We're gonna say 150 likes in the first day, or I'm never coming back to Fruits Basket again. That's a lie. But let's just say 150. Let's try to hit 150 by the end of the day. I believe in you. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about this. Yeah, I'm a little bit scatterbrained because I don't even so many things. So many things. I truly don't even know where to begin. Let's start with Haru. Let's just get this out of the way because there is stuff I want to say about Hiro. Holy crap! But let's just start by talking about Haru. So Hiro does tell Haru what happens, right? And it's funny because like at the beginning of the episode, everybody's starting to say like, "Where is Rin?" Like, where is Rin is like a trend. Like, where is Rin? Nobody knows what's going on with Rin. It's weird, super weird. Where is she? And I'm spending the episode, like, every time somebody brings up where's Rin, I'm like, yeah, where's Rin? Like, I have a vague idea. I think she's at the cat's cabin, whatever they called it. It's like, I know she's somewhere near there, because okay, so my theory was that Rin had cut her hair and was like posing as like, or was like trying to run away or something, or like posing as Akito or something. I don't know. I was way off. So I couldn't have imagined what ended up happening. At least not the way that it went down. Like I didn't know that this is what was going on. Like I didn't know that it was gonna go down like this. I was vaguely right because I said it was either but I mean, like, it was kind of obvious from, like, that end tag that either, like, she had cut her own hair or Akito put her in there, but, like, for what purposes, we don't know. So I was legit shocked when we found out that Akito had put Rin in the cat's cabin and just, like, left her there and never wanted to see her again. Was, like, going to just leave her forever in that cabin. Which is like, okay, but what would have happened when Kyo had to go in the cabin? Would Kyo and Rin just be in there forever together? Like are they just together at that point? Like, so many questions, right? Because it's like, okay, so, like, what happens if somebody goes to visit and they go to see Kyo and then they're like, oh, Rin's in here, what the hell? I don't know, but like regardless, Rin was trapped in the cat's cabin thing. And Haru goes absolutely ballistic, and rightfully so, and confronts, oh, it was so good. Haru confronts Akito, and I was like, finally, right? Like, all I've wanted for the longest time is someone to just like confront Akito and like really let her have it. Cause I am sick of Akito like running her fucking mouth and talking to these people like she's a god. I get that that's how it is. Like I get that she is that, but at the end of the day, look how Haru spoke to her. Look at how Kyo has spoken to her. What I've always wanted, and this will probably never happen, but I've said this before, I will say it again. If Uotani was let in on what was happening, if Uo knew, oh my god, I don't think they'd ever find Akito's body. Like, Uo would not only dress Akito down, like call Akito every name under the sun, she would also absolutely kick Akito's frail ass. Like, Uo would destroy Akito. It wouldn't even be funny. Actually, it'd be incredibly funny, cause fuck Akito. Like, actually, fuck Akito. And fuck Ren too. Like there, I don't want to say it anymore because I will get demonetized, but like, screw those two. Screw them. Like, I was so mad the entire time, like, when Akito tried to be a snake, and not a cool snake. Like, not like Ayame, okay? A snake, right? A slippery, slimy snake. Like, trying to, like, be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. right? Like trying to dodge Haru's, like what Haru's saying, and then trying to blame this on Haru. Like this is even remotely Haru's fault. And like just absolutely drove me insane. Look at his face in that scene. He's pissed. Like when that old hag shows up and tries to be like, oh, you can't, like you might be a part of the Zodiac, but you can't just barge in here. And he's like, get out of here, old hag. Like just tells her like, shut up. I was not talking to you. Right? And then he tells her later, like, don't even speak to me because when you do, it makes me want to kill you and then myself. And it's like, holy crap. Like, oh my god. Like, Haru just destroys Akito with words and almost with fists because if Kureno didn't show up, like, I don't know what would have happened. Like, I really don't. Like, Kureno showing up, even with Kureno there, it could have gone bad, right? Like, when Haru swung, I was like, don't sink to her level, but at the same time, if that fist had landed a few inches to the left, I wouldn't have complained. I'm just saying. Like, that would have cracked, like, the power behind that punch would have easily cracked Akito's skull. Like, I'm not even kidding. It would have been bad, right? Like, I don't necessarily want Akito to die or anything, but I do want Akito to have some kind of punishment for all the crap she's thrown at these people, right? Like, if Akito gets beat up, I ain't gonna complain, right? So, like, the instant that he threw the punch, I'm like, I hope he doesn't actually hit Akito, but if he did, I ain't gonna complain. And when you see, like, the impact, I was like, holy shit, he, like, almost shattered the column behind her. And that would have, like, absolutely, at the very least, cracked her nose. Like, that was insane. And just, like, the fact that he, like, that he walks away. And when he's walking away, he tells her off, right? And she's like, Hatsuharu, Hatsuharu, right? Like calling out to him. And he keeps walking. And then he's about to turn for a second because you see that tether, right? And he's about to turn, and Kureno shows up and says, like, don't come back. Just keep going. She wants to see you, dude. The first thing she said when I found her was your name. And then, like, Haru sort of, like, resolves himself, and he turns, and then you see the tether, and it starts to kind of come apart. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, is it snapped? I don't know. I don't think it's fully snapped. But I think Haru is at this point where he could be any second away from having that link between him and Akito severed in the same way that it is severed for Kureno. So if it started to snap there, what is it that is like what is the secret behind getting them to stop? You know, like, what is it? Is like, because for Kureno, it just like happened, right? Like, he was like looking at the birds, and then it just snapped. Like, he's still tethered to Akito in a different way, but it's not through the curse. So it's like, okay, so what is it? Like, what shattered the curse for Haru? I don't know, but man, I was very, very proud of Haru there. Like, I was very much like, Haru letting Akito have it was dope. And seeing him, like, that frustration again, like that shot of him, like, with his hands in his hair, just like trying to process everything. Like, when because he snaps, because she, like, as she's saying, like I would have, like, because he said, like, what, are you gonna kill her again? She's like, yeah, and it would have been your fault. So he's like, you're trying to blame me for your shitty actions, and then when Kureno does the right thing, you and the old hag are telling him that he did the wrong thing. And that he's mean, and like Haru even says, like, he's the mean one, like, so he starts to snap because of the way she's even treating Kureno. So it's just like, you could see Haru's just like frick you, like, he's just so done with her. And I hope that tether is, I would have loved if the tether snapped there. That would have been friggin' great. But also we have the big triumphant moment where Rin is finally reunited with Haru, and I gotta say, everything with Rin had me hella emotional. Like, Rin, the fact that we find out that Rin, because we see Rin, like, looking at Toru and Kureno like back at like the beginning of this season and like the end of last season. Like she sees that conversation between Kureno and Toru. And so she's like, what the hell? So like I didn't know what she was thinking in that moment. But then we see her later and she's like sneaking around, and that's when Ren finds her and like says like, I need you for a plan. So it's like, okay. But here's the thing, right? So I didn't know what she was thinking. It turns out that Rin was going to punch Kureno in the mouth for making Toru cry, which made me hella happy, because even Haru says at one point like, oh my god, Rin and Toru are friends? Rin made a friend, right? Like I love that, because like it's true, Rin and Toru are close, right? Like they are actually friends, and it's nice to be reminded of that like Rin actually has let Toru into her life, and it's funny just how Toru has like infiltrated the different somas, right? Like she is in their heart. Like Toru has reached out to them, not through the same shackles, because like that's what it is. It's not like a tether that connects them to Akito. No, it's shackles, right? Like whereas Toru is reaching out through kindness and love, Akito reaches out through fear and anger, right? Like that's the difference between the two. And the fact that Rin was so pissed that Kureno made Toru cry that she was gonna go punch him in the face is really funny to think about. Only for it to get immediately sad when she gets caught by Ren. And the plan was, and this is what I couldn't have predicted, that the plan was to steal Akito's dad's ashes, and of course she gets caught. And I'm like, frick, right? Like as soon as that happens, I was like, oh, that's not good. I can't say the word I actually said out loud, because you can only say it so many times in a YouTube video before you get demonetized. So it's like, yeah, you know what I said. And then she throws her in the cat's cabin thing and starts like cutting her hair, and is like, I never want to see you again. If I do, I will take Haru's eyesight. And I'm like, what's with you and eyes? Like, what is it with you and eyes? I don't get it. Like, she's out for people's eyeballs. I don't know what Akito's damage is. But Rin sort of resolves herself to be like, you know what? Like, to protect Haru, I'll just stay here. It's fine. And when Kureno finds her, she is like catatonic. Like, she hasn't been eating for days. The one aide is like, you have to save her. She's gonna die. Right? But at the same time, before she can even say that, she's still so scared of Akito. Even people who aren't part of the curse are so scared and indebted to Akito that even when Rin is dying, she's still scared of Akito instead of being scared that Rin is gonna die in there. It's insane. So yeah, Kureno just breaks in, and the first thing Rin says, like I said earlier, is Haru's name, because that's all she's thinking about. And so when they get her to the hospital and Hattori's there, and it's like, Rin, like let's figure out what's going on. Rin runs away, and she ran all through the night, into the day, and she's been trying to hide from Haru, who ends up finding her in the same spot. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna get into it, but like, he ends up finding her again, and because she's running away trying to protect him. And he shows up because she thinks she's still in the cat's cabin at this point. She's like hallucinating because of how fucking deprived she is of food. I just said it again. How deprived she is of food. And so like she's hallucinating that she's back at the cat's cabin, and then she sees Haru because all she wants to do is die dreaming of Haru. And he says like, I guess the journey's over then. And Rin's like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, okay, well, if your journey's over, then come home to me. And she's like, I'd love to. This is a nice dream. And he's like, yeah, except you're not dreaming. And he just picks her up, and he starts carrying her back. And he's like, I'm still that dumb kid, but at least now I can carry you. And yeah, he says, like, you're not a burden. Like, you are absolutely not a burden. And then they say the thing that I swear anime uses all the time. It's one of those tropes that just works every time, and it kills me every time. And it's the Haru Tadaima, Okaeri. Like, just kills me every time. Anytime I hear a character say Tadaima, I'm like, oh my god, because it's always Okaeri, like welcome home. And then it's just like the two of them holding each other, and the two school kids who were just mystified by everything. It was so good. It was so good. And can I just say, by the way, Kureno. I want to talk about Kureno very quickly because, yeah, wow. Kureno, I don't know what's going on with my boy, but this week, like the MVPs this week were Haru, Kureno, and Hiro. And we'll get to Hiro in a sec, but I want to talk about Kureno. And Rin too. In fact, Rin, absolutely, Rin as well. But Kureno, like, the fact that he seems so much more proactive now than when we met him. And I almost wonder if this is, like, the impact of Toru and Uotani and everything, all the events of the series, I think are starting to affect the Somas in ways that we didn't really connect with. Like, Kureno is really starting to become much more proactive in, like, helping the other Somas. You know, like, he tells Haru, like, no, don't come back. And he doesn't say it to be like, how dare you hurt Akito, don't come back. It was so clearly, like, him saying, like, don't come back because the first thing she said when she saw me was your name. Like, she's thinking of you. Like, go to her. Right? Like, he tells Haru that, knowing that he could easily break Haru's connection, right? Like, he says that to him. He could break his curse right there, but he says it anyway. I don't know if it does. It doesn't really seem like it, but it starts to snap regardless. Whether or not it's fully snapped or just starting is irrelevant, because it happened. Like, you see the tether starting to break, right? So it's like, doesn't matter if they're all snapped or just a little bit. That shit is frayed, and it's gonna come apart now. Like, for Haru, that tether is gonna snap. So, I think that's just, like, a thing. That Kureno is, like, comfortable enough to tell Haru that. Like, to tell Haru to go to her. Or to even find Rin in the first place, to disobey orders, you know? Like, he doesn't care. He's just like, no, I'm doing this, right? And when Akito has her little freak out, when Akito's like, oh, you're supposed to be indebted to me, he said it, oh, da-da-da-da-da. Like, crying for her dad, like a friggin' child. Like, I'm sorry, I know people could be like, oh, he's so mean to Akito. Because ever since, like the big reveal happened, everyone's like, you're so mean. Like, so everybody, y'all went from being like, Akito's the worst to you're so mean so fast. Y'all seem to forget everything that's happened. Y'all can forgive. I haven't forgotten. My understanding does not equal my forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? I understand how Akito became this way. And I don't have any love in my heart for Ren, even remotely. Screw Ren too. But what I'm saying is that until I start to see some forward momentum from Akito, until I start to see some actual character, like, not even character development, because Akito is developing. It's just like, okay, so there's a positive character growth, like there's positive character change, and there's negative character change. And when I say negative, I don't mean like bad writing, I mean the character is changing for the worse, right? Because Akito keeps retreating inward, and because Take-sensei is a genius, that, like, the character keeps going more inward and inward, and so I'm hoping that the further in Akito goes into the darkness, eventually Akito will start to see what a monster they've become, right? But until that point happens, until I see something, screw you, forgiveness. Just because I understand doesn't mean I forgive, right? Like, so no, Akito's a shithead, and I do not forgive, and I do not forget. Right? Like, no. And I hope that they all abandon her. I'm not even sorry. Like, I really hope they do. And Kureno is starting to show signs, right? Kureno's like, man, screw you. Like, he doesn't say it out loud, but he's like, what is this? Like, you can't do this. Like, even Kureno says, like, I know, like, he tries to comfort her, but he still says, like, I know you think you can do these things, but you have to think these through. You can't do these things. And Haru almost cracks her friggin' skull, and Hiro finally just tells everybody what's been going on, not giving a shit if Akito finds out. And now that I've given Kureno his praise, it's time to talk about the friggin' boy. it's time to talk about Hiro, because I'm passionate right now, because Hiro said screw Akito as loud as the rest of us. Because Hiro finally just says, you know what? Nah, I'm done. Like Hiro seeing his little sister makes him realize his own flaws, and he wants to be better. That is not just the sign of character growth. And I'm getting emotional saying this because it's true, because that's the sign of a boy becoming a man. You know? Like, when I saw that, I was like, you two got taller. And for some reason, like, because I was watching him have that moment with his sister, and when he said that, I'm not gonna lie, you guys know me, I cry hella easy. I cried at the end of the episode, but I cried when he's like, you know, I'm selfish, and I'm mean, and like I can be an idiot sometimes, but when I see her, I want to be better. And he says that, and he's like, and there's something I gotta tell you, right? And he's saying these things, and I'm looking at them, and I had this thought of like, you two got taller. And when I said that, I'm like, oh my god, they're growing up, right? Like, and it's suddenly just like, oh, like it just hit like a truck, because I was like, when we met him, he was this dumb little kid, right? Like, he was this little jerk. I hated him when we first met him. Hated him. One of my thumbnails still says worst boy, you know? Like, people still think that I dislike him, when like, really, Hiro's grown to be one of my favorite characters. Like, I freaking love this little shit. But, like, to see him becoming a man... Oh man, I was so proud. I was proud like he was real. Oh man, I was really proud. I was really, really proud. And like when he tells Haru like what's going on, I was like, I was so happy, because he tells Haru like, Akito pushed Rin off the balcony, and I should have told you. I should have told you, but I was scared. Right? Like, Akito said she'd do these things, and after she hurt Kisa, I was scared. I couldn't say what I wanted to tell you, and I'm sorry to you, and I'm sorry to Kisa. I should have been able to tell you, but I couldn't. And I was like, you know what? You're saying it now, okay? Like, here, and you shouldn't have ever been in that position anyway, Hiro. You know what I mean? I was like, this is such a good character, because it's like, this is such a good story, because it's like, Akito's a monster, and you hate them, you understand them, but you hate them, right? And then you see little Hiro, this little kid, this little boy stuck in this horrible situation, and like, he's desperately struggling to figure out what the right thing to do is, but he's not mature enough yet to fully understand what that is, and that is to say, screw you, Akito. Like, he's not there yet. And so to see him get to that point, like, my boy's becoming a man. My boy's becoming a man. He's becoming a man. He's not just a man, he's a mayon. You know what I mean? There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a man, and then there's a mayon. And he's becoming a mayon. And I'm proud. I'm proud papa. Proud zombie papa. I'm very proud. That is gonna make some people, I just realized that's gonna make some people very happy that I said that I'm proud. Because like, I know some people still think that I don't like, that I don't like Hiro, what I really do. I'm so proud of Hiro, I'm so proud of Haru, and I'm hella proud of Rin too. And Kureno, and Kisa too. Kisa didn't do much, but I'm proud of her too. Oh man, just so good. God, Hiro and Kisa got really tall. They got really tall. Anyway, with that said, that is going to wrap up today's video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care. And of course, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, set notifications to all. Almost forgot my own outro. I'm all out of sorts. With that said, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And hey, if you'd like to join these beautiful people, then be sure to hit that join button right beside the sub button. Patreon. It's just $1. I'm all messed up. I'm so messed up. Takia Sensei, why you do this? Anyway, yeah. Patreon, it's $1. It helps out the channel. You get your name at the end of these. I might just cancel the join button completely and just do the Patreon. Because like, yeah, Patreon's the easiest way to help out. It's just a single $1 and it helps me out immensely. So consider it if you haven't. So big thank you to the T Squadron. I'm gonna go make a cup of tea. I need it. Okay, bye.